Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum all my dear friends and English literature aspirants. Today we are going to study the modern drama Hedda Gabler written by Henrik Ibsen. This is included in the syllabus of MA English Literature Part 2 and this is one of the most important plays. I'm going to tell you about the most important question that is repeatedly coming in the past papers. Question is, can Ibsen's Hedda Gabler be considered as tragedy? Henrik Ibsen was the first man who showed that a tragedy could be written about common and ordinary people in everyday prose language. Before Ibsen, tragedy was considered with kings, queens, prince, and princess, but he was the first to write tragedy of ordinary people, and it proved a tremendous success. Hedda has a certain personality that is brought up by an aristocratic father, General Gabler. It was indeed a high rank birth. Ibsen wrote, the title of the play is Hedda Gabler. My intention in giving it this name was to indicate that Hedda as a personality is to be regarded as her father's daughter than as her husband's wife. With this title of the play, the reader is made aware of Hedda's relation with the past and General Gabler's appearance in present life. An obvious example of Journal's presence is the large portrait of him that dominates the inner room. The ever present piano belonging to the late General Gabler symbolizes Hedda's past freedom. Moreover, the most significant influence of the General has over Hedda is the fact that Hedda is unable to rid herself of her Hedda Gabler identity. Aunt Juju says that she is General Gabler's daughter and is accustomed to a particular way of life in her father's house. General Gabler's daughter, what a life she had in General's day. After marriage with Tessman, she feels alienated in the bourgeois environment. Throughout the play, she rejects Tessman and his middle class lifestyles, clinging to the honorable past with which her father provided her. The author has thus created a character of noble birth, an important characteristics of a tragic play. But unfortunately, at the age of 29, she marries in the lower class, which proves to be a hasty decision. My time was up. I danced myself out. It is this background that leads to her hamartia, rather the decision that leads to a tragic end. And perhaps it is one of the most important factors in categorizing this play as tragedy. Also, the senseless deaths in the tragedy of Hedda Gabler are the result of Hedda's character flaws. She causes her self-destruction as well as the destruction of the lives of others through her character flaws such as manipulation, the ability to show sympathy, and the need to have a constant control. Hedda lives in the past, denies the present, and rejects the future. The protagonist is tormented equally by her own repression and guilt as much as by her new external restrictions. Her main tragic flaw is that she tries to control others around her. It is a fascinating portrait of how the powerless survive through manipulation. Is overly concerned with society's opinion of her. Ibsen creates a character in Hedda that treats others in a demeaning manner and repeatedly using the following phrase, people don't do such things. This remark shows how Hedda criticizes and comments on others and their actions. Thus she puts herself on a pedestal above all in society. She likes to belittle others by throwing sarcastic statements about them. Hedda feels suffocated and highly frustrated after marrying Dr. Tessman. She considers Tessman and his research boring as he does not understand her psychological and emotional needs, so she amuses herself by manipulating others. She knew that Thea is intimidated by her and uses it to her advantage by manipulating her to reveal her very own secret. She is jealous of Thea because Thea has a love for life Hedda cannot bring herself to feel. She broke off with Lovborg because, as he says, and she admits, I am coward at heart. Hedda is unwilling, or rather afraid, to have a child. No responsibilities for me, she tells Judge Brack. Hedda hides her pregnancy from Tessman and others as she was not ready to bear a burden of Tessman's child when she herself was not happy in a compromising marriage. The most compelling episode of Hedda's perfect brand of manipulation is the role she plays in the death of Elliot Lovborg. Despite the fact that Elliot is the only person who can evoke true passion in her, Hedda feels the need to destroy him purely for the purpose of having the power to mold human destiny. According to Bernard Shaw, she has no conscience, no conviction, with plenty of cleverness energy with personal fascination. She remains mean, envious, insolent, and fiendish in her dislike of inartistic people and things, a bully in her reaction of her own cowardice. Hedda breaks all relations with Lovborg because of his drunken habit and leaves him to die of his own. She does not try to reform him, but Mrs. Elstead makes him a new man. She succeeds in developing a kind of moral power over him. Mrs. Elsted's this influence becomes a challenge for Hedda. She feels much jealous of the situation. She cunningly instigates Lovborg to drink to his full and also tempts him to go to attend the bachelor's party. Lovborg indulges himself in excessive drinking and loses his self restraint. Worst comes to the worst. On returning him from party, Lovborg loses his manuscript. Fortunately or unfortunately, Tasman finds it and gives it to Hedda to return to Lovborg. But in a fit of jealousy, Hedda burns the manuscript. She says, I am burning your child, Thea, the child Lovborg gave you. Lovborg has now no purpose in his life and thus feels dejected at the loss of his manuscript. Hedda plays a wicked role and proves to herself like a murderer, suggesting Lovborg to kill himself at the temple. She hands over one of her father's pistols as a souvenir to Lovborg and tells him to do it beautifully. Do it beautifully, idiot Lovborg. Only promise me that. Hedda makes a quite rash judgments throughout the course of this play, so it is difficult to pinpoint which one proves to be more detrimental. Her decision to leave Elliot Lovborg, marrying Tessman, holding on to Lovborg's manuscript, burning the manuscript, giving him the gun to die a beautiful death, and finally her own death at the end. Nothing was pre planned, but her marriage to Tessman proved to be a wrong decision that became the cause of her tragic death. The truths revealed the real facts when Hedda came to know that Lovborg died ingloriously and it didn't happen in the way she wanted. She feels frustrated to know that Lovborg was not in her control and he did not commit suicide under her influence. She says, why does everything I touch become mean and ludicrous? It's like a curse. Now she finds herself in the control of Brack because he has recognized the pistol of Hedda used by Lovborg. While she has a great fear of scandal, Brack perceives her this weakness and tries to take power over her. He tries to blackmail Hedda to fulfill his wishes, but Hedda, being a non-conformist, does not want to be a puppet in the hands of Judge Brack. Lastly, we see the use of peripecia, the reversal of the character, and catharsis to be felt by readers. This is perhaps central to this play, for it truly defines Hedda Gabler as a tragic character. Hedda's motivation in this play is to control somebody's destiny and preferably male. She wants to live vicariously through Lovborg, and so to some extent she gets what she wants. But the outcome of this is disastrous. Hedda tries to tempt Elliot Lovborg to die a beautiful death, but her this attempt backfires, and consequently she has to die by her own. We see that Lovborg does not commit suicide, rather he dies due to an injury, but Brack manipulates this situation against Hedda and forces her to yield before him. But she cannot accept this at all and cannot lose her power and be a puppet in Brack's hands. She finally kills herself. As a critic says, she dies for herself as she had lived for herself. Despite all her shortcomings, undermining her husband with her coldness, denying her pregnancy, destroying Thea's life work, burning Lovborg's creative manuscript, and finally committing suicide, the readers still sympathize with her and pity on her, as the problem of Hedda illuminates the problem of women in a society built by men. In this play, Ibsen has created a vivid picture of a woman who is socially tortured beyond her control and eventually led to the tragic end. Through his literary techniques and tragic elements, Ibsen creates a tragic masterpiece of his time. Okay, students, this is your host Samya Umar signing off. Please like and subscribe my channel MA English Part 1 and 2 notes for more quality notes and informative videos regarding MA English literature and linguistics. I've shared the PDF of these notes in my Facebook group, and I'm sharing the link of it in my description box. If you have any kind of questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the comment section. Till then, Allah Hafiz, and keep working hard and keep striving.